Becoming so good they can't ignore you isn't just about talent. It's about commitment, resilience, and an unshakable belief in your ability to grow. The world doesn't reward mediocrity, it celebrates excellence. When you master your craft, you eliminate competition because you've set a standard that others struggle to reach. This isn't about being better than someone else, it's about being the best version of yourself, refining your skills to a level where your work demands attention without you having to chase it. Excellence isn't accidental, it's the result of relentless practice, an obsession with improvement, and the courage to keep going when no one is watching. The best in any field didn't wake up one day and find themselves at the top. They put in the hours, the late nights, the early mornings, the repetitions that no one applauds. They fell, they failed, but they got back up every single time. If you want to be someone they miss, someone they talk about, someone they need in their space, you must dedicate yourself to your craft with an intensity that makes you unforgettable. Discipline is your best friend on this journey. Natural talent might get you noticed, but it's discipline that will sustain you, showing up when you don't feel like it, doing the work when motivation fades, pushing past the moments of self-doubt. That's what creates mastery. You don't need permission to be great, and you certainly don't need validation. What you need is consistency. You need to show up for yourself long before the world starts to notice. The moment you decide to be exceptional, you separate yourself from the crowd. The average settle, but the great push. The average wait for opportunities, but the great create them. When you master your craft, you become undeniable. Doors that once seemed locked will open. People who once overlooked you will start paying attention, and the best part? By then, you won't even be seeking their approval because your work will speak so loudly that no explanation will be needed. It's not about chasing recognition, it's about being so good that recognition chases you. It's about developing skills so sharp that people feel your presence in your absence. The goal isn't to be liked, followed, or praised. It's to be respected for what you bring to the table. Every expert was once a beginner, but what set them apart was their decision to never remain one. You don't wake up great, you build yourself into greatness. You earn it through the hours no one counts, through the work no one sees, through the sacrifices no one understands. Becoming exceptional means rejecting comfort. It means choosing growth over ease, choosing repetition over shortcuts, and choosing patience over instant gratification. The people who master their craft are the ones who don't look for the easy way out. They understand that success is rented and the rent is due every single day. If you want to be missed, if you want to leave a mark so strong that people feel the void when you're not around, then you must become the best at what you do. Silence is one of the most powerful tools in a world that is constantly loud. People rush to speak, to prove, to announce their progress, their dreams, their next move. But real power doesn't come from noise. It comes from the quiet work that happens behind the scenes. Those who truly make an impact don't spend their time trying to convince others of their greatness. They let their results do that for them. When you prioritize action over words, you naturally separate yourself from the crowd. The need to prove yourself to everyone around you is a distraction. The moment you announce your every goal, you invite unnecessary opinions, doubts, and expectations. Some people won't support you not because you aren't capable, but because they can't handle your growth. Others will watch not to cheer you on, but to measure your success against their own insecurities. This is why silence is so crucial. When you work in silence, you move without interference. You build without resistance. You develop your skills, make your mistakes, and refine your path without outside noise clouding your vision. Confidence isn't loud. The strongest individuals aren't the ones constantly talking about what they're going to do. They're the ones quietly making it happen. It's easy to get caught up in the validation cycle, seeking approval or recognition for every step forward. But the truth is, the more you rely on external validation, the weaker your internal foundation becomes. Real confidence comes from knowing what you're capable of, even when no one else is watching. It comes from trusting the process, knowing that when the time is right, your results will be impossible to ignore. Not everything needs an announcement. Growth happens in silence. Strength is built in solitude. The world doesn't need to know every sacrifice you make, every challenge you face, every late night you spend perfecting your craft. When you move in silence, you protect your energy. You stay focused on what truly matters. Your progress, your work, and your own expectations rather than the expectations of others. Letting your work speak louder than your words means you show up every day and put in the effort, regardless of who is watching. It means choosing substance over show, consistency over clout. There is something undeniably powerful about someone who doesn't need to explain their worth, but instead demonstrates it through their actions. People respect results. They respect those who don't just talk about success, but embody it. Silence builds mystery, and mystery builds intrigue. When people don't know your every move, they are forced to pay attention when you finally reveal the outcome. It's about making an impact so strong that people recognize your value, not because you told them about it, but because they saw it with their own eyes. The most successful people understand this. They don't waste energy proving themselves to those who don't matter. Instead, they let their success be the proof. The loudest person in the room isn't always the most powerful. True power is found in those who don't need to announce their greatness. They simply become it. Being present is not enough. You must bring value to the table. In a world where attention is fleeting, it's easy to be seen but difficult to be remembered. Many people chase visibility, thinking that if they can just get noticed, they will be successful. But the truth is, it's not about how many people know your name. It's about how many people genuinely need what you offer. Presence fades, but impact lasts. When you create value, people don't just remember you, they rely on you. Value is built through knowledge, skill, and the ability to solve problems. It's not about just showing up, it's about showing up with something meaningful. The people who truly make a difference in any field are not the ones who are the loudest or the most well-known. They are the ones who provide something others cannot easily replace. They have developed expertise so deep that their absence creates a gap. They have mastered their ability to contribute in a way that makes people think twice before overlooking them. Many people spend their energy trying to be liked, trying to be noticed, trying to fit in. But the ones who leave a lasting impression are those who focus on being indispensable. Instead of asking, how can I get attention? Shift your mindset to how can I make myself so valuable that attention becomes inevitable. This means consistently improving, learning, and refining your abilities until they become undeniable. It means bringing something unique to the table, something that makes people see you as a necessity rather than an option. Creating value is not just about professional skills. It's about how you make people feel, how you impact the spaces you enter, and how you contribute beyond what is expected. People don't just remember what you do, they remember how you made their lives easier, better, or more meaningful. Those who chase popularity often find themselves forgotten as soon as the next distraction arrives. But those who focus on making a real difference remain in people's minds long after they're gone. This requires a shift from focusing on external validation to internal growth. It means understanding that recognition is a byproduct of value, not the other way around. If you prioritize being useful over being seen, you naturally become someone people look for, someone people miss when you're not around. You don't have to convince people of your worth when your contributions speak for themselves. The moment you stop chasing visibility and start focusing on creating something that truly matters, the right people will notice. Opportunities don't just come to those who are present. They come to those who bring something exceptional with them. Instead of trying to be everywhere, be the person who, when absent, leaves a void. Instead of focusing on how many people know you, focus on how deeply you impact the ones who do. The strongest presence is built not by demanding attention, but by becoming so valuable that attention is a natural consequence of the work you do. Growth is a process that requires elevation before isolation. Many people want to succeed, but they remain surrounded by the same environments, the same mindsets, and the same limitations that keep them stagnant. True elevation demands a willingness to outgrow spaces that no longer serve your progress. It requires stepping up first, becoming better, stronger, wiser, and then stepping back to let that transformation be noticed. Those who truly evolve do not stay in the same place seeking validation. They grow, elevate, and then distance themselves, allowing the world to recognize the difference. When you elevate, everything about you changes. Your mindset, your habits, your standards. You no longer think the way you used to. You no longer tolerate the same distractions. The things that once entertained you start to feel irrelevant. The conversations that once excited you start to feel small. This is a sign of growth. But with growth comes a natural separation. Not everyone will understand your transformation and not everyone will celebrate it. Some will feel uncomfortable with your progress because it forces them to reflect on their own stagnation. This is where the power of isolation comes in. Isolation is not about loneliness. It is about refinement. It is the phase where you step back, allowing your elevation to sink in, not just for others to notice, but for you to fully embrace who you are becoming. The mistake many people make is seeking immediate recognition for their growth. They want the world to applaud their transformation before it has even fully developed. Real impact is not announced, but it is revealed. When you elevate and then isolate, you give people the space to notice the difference without forcing it upon them. You become someone they miss, someone they admire from a distance, someone they cannot ignore. This process is uncomfortable because it requires you to detach from the familiar. It demands that you become comfortable being misunderstood, at least for a while. People who once had easy access to you may feel like you have changed, and they are right. You have. But the point of growth is not to remain accessible to everyone at every stage of your life. The point is to become so refined, so valuable, that your presence carries weight. You are no longer just someone they know. You are someone they remember, someone they now see differently. The ones who make the biggest impact are not the ones constantly trying to prove their worth. They are the ones who elevate quietly, who work relentlessly, who create a level of excellence so undeniable that when they step back, people feel the void. The absence of a person who has mastered their craft, their mindset, and their presence is more powerful than the constant presence of someone who is not. Elevation first, then isolation, not as a strategy for attention, but as a natural consequence of becoming the person you were meant to be. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your journey. Access to your time, energy, and presence is a privilege, not a right. Too often, people give away their energy freely, allowing anyone and everyone to have a say in their lives. But when you are intentional about who you let into your space, you take control of your growth, your peace, and your progress. The truth is, not everyone is meant to go where you are going. Some people are distractions, some are obstacles, and only a few are truly aligned with your purpose. Being selective with access is not about arrogance, it is about self-respect. The company you keep has the power to influence your mindset, your ambitions, and even your self-worth. If you surround yourself with those who doubt you, minimize your achievements, or constantly drain your energy, you will find yourself questioning your own potential. On the other hand, when you are intentional about who you allow in your life, you create an environment that nurtures growth, ambition, and self-belief. Many people hold on to relationships, friendships, and connections out of habit rather than purpose. They fear letting go, afraid of being alone, or of disappointing others. But the truth is, keeping the wrong people close is far more damaging than walking alone for a while. There is strength in solitude, and sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come when you step away from the noise and refocus on your path. Being selective means understanding that not everyone deserves access to your time, thoughts, or energy. It means setting boundaries that protect your progress and refusing to entertain negativity, doubt, or unnecessary drama. When you start valuing your time, you naturally attract those who respect it. People who are meant to be in your life will not feel entitled to your energy. They will appreciate it. They will understand that you are focused on building something meaningful, and they will either support that or step aside. The ones who take offense to your boundaries were likely benefiting from your lack of them. This is why being selective is so important. It reveals who is truly there for you and who is simply there for their own convenience. Growth changes people, and as you evolve, your circle should evolve too. You cannot expect to reach new levels while surrounding yourself with people who are comfortable with the old version of you. The more you elevate, the more intentional you must be with who you allow into your space. Some people will not understand your journey, and that is okay. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to fulfill your purpose, to reach your highest potential, and to surround yourself with those who truly align with that mission. Being selective with access is not about isolation. It is about creating a life where every connection adds value rather than drains it. The more intentional you are with your energy, the more powerful your presence becomes. Leaving a mark is not about being popular, it is about being impactful. Many people spend their lives chasing attention, trying to be seen, trying to be remembered for the wrong reasons. But true influence is not about how many people know your name. It is about how many lives you have touched, how many minds you have inspired, and how deeply your presence is felt, even when you are not around. The goal is not to be someone that people simply remember, but to be someone whose absence is noticed because of the value you brought into their lives. Impact is built through consistency, authenticity, and purpose. It is not about temporary moments of recognition, but about a lasting presence that continues to inspire long after you have moved on. People may forget what you said or what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Every action, every word, every contribution you make shapes the way others experience you. Those who truly leave a mark do not do so by demanding attention. They do so by embodying excellence in everything they do. They focus on their work, their growth, and their ability to contribute something meaningful rather than simply being visible. The difference between being remembered and being missed is the depth of your impact. Some people are remembered because they were entertaining, because they were loud, because they occupied space. But the ones who are missed are those who left something behind: knowledge, wisdom, inspiration, or change. Their presence was more than just a moment, it was a movement. When they step away, their influence lingers, their lessons remain, and their contributions continue to shape the people and places they once touched. To create this kind of impact, you must focus on mastery, on refining your skills, on developing something that extends beyond yourself. When you dedicate yourself to something greater than personal gain, you naturally become someone people respect and admire. It is not about self-promotion, it is about self-improvement to the point where your excellence speaks louder than any words ever could. When you commit to growth, to adding value, to pushing boundaries, you position yourself as someone who is needed rather than just noticed. People who leave a mark do not waste time trying to prove themselves. They do not seek validation in temporary applause. Instead, they work in silence, they build something real, and they let their actions create a legacy that cannot be ignored. The ones who truly matter are those whose presence made a difference and whose absence creates a void. It is not about being everywhere. It is about being so powerful in the spaces you do occupy that when you are no longer there, people feel it. The focus should never be on making noise, but on making an impact so strong that the world cannot help but notice even in your absence.